If you still don't like the design of the Tesla Cybertruck, I got some bad news for you. You're probably gonna. Let me explain. Now, I was there at the unveiling on Thursday in Flash, and I gotta tell you, I don't know a single soul there watching the live stream who just kind of fell in love at first sight with this truck. But within an hour, 2 hours, the night, the days after that, there were quite a few people who kind of fell in love with it and said, you know what, it grew on me. That's what, Now, by the way, I have to say, pretty much everybody I know, including myself, who still does not really get this, reserved one as well. Now, here's why, and, bear with me. I really think that Tesla is much like Kardashians or Kanye West. They don't really ask us what we like and then make that. They make something and say, you're gonna love that. And like kind of also Apple, right? And I think we are in that situation with Teslas where they made something that's futuristic and not everyone's going to be on board. Again, I'm still kind of evolving myself and we're just going to fall in love with it at some point. So, by the way, let me know in the comment section if you have turned and fell in love with the design of this truck, or you're still processing. Now, if you noticed over the weekend, I did not have Eli Burton of My Tesla Adventure for his weekly segment that we call Supercharged with Eli Burton. Well, that's because he was also at the event and he was having so much fun that he lost his voice. He just gained it earlier in the last day, so he stopped by my place. We met up, and usually we do it somewhere outside when we're hanging out in person. But here in Sacramento, it's kind of cold, so we decided to crank the heat up in his P100D Raven Model S and have this conversation in front of you because, we actually noticed that we were having so much time and mingling with so many people and taking videos for you guys that we didn't take a single picture together at the event. So it's like we never met there. But he's got an interesting opinion, and of course I'm going to ask him whether he thinks that essentially Tesla is a Kardashian. And don't get me wrong, the booty is there for both, right? And this is also one of those things that it is a beauty and the beast, 2 in 1. So before I show you the footage of our conversation earlier today, of course, a quick reminder that this video and this channel is sponsored by Byton. Check out their all-electric SUV coming to US and Europe. I can't wait for this large screen to be in front of me at all times. $0 a reservation, and of course about, 30 to 60 seconds of your time. If you want to reserve this baby and own it once it's in your area, go to the description of this video and reserve your Byton today for free. All right, so without further ado, here's the conversation of me, Eli, inside of his Model S, talking about the beautiful, the ugly, the whatever Cybertruck.
All right, so this is the first time we see each other after we saw each other at the unveiling, and we haven't talked since that day, and
in part because I lost my voice.
That's true. You have lost your voice, which is okay, because I think everybody, not just us, everybody needed a few minutes to think about this, right?
A few days.
A few days to think about it. And all right, so I saw a lot of people that day who were fans and still are saying, oh no. And then at the end of the night, they're like, oh, I reserved 2, What was your first impression? Because we were on different sides of the room, and what is it now?
So my initial reaction was, oh my God, what did Elon do? Oh my God, he did exactly what he promised he was going to do and create a truck that looked like something out of the future. Like when I first looked at this thing, it looked like something you'd expect to see in a sci-fi movie of like the stormtroopers on Mars coming to throw you in and take you away to a concentration camp where you'll never be seen from again. Like it's that far futuristic from the future. So my initial reaction was, oh no, what have they done? Who the heck is going to buy this thing? I like the front. The initial look of the front I liked, but then when I saw the way it transitioned to when I got to see the back, it was like, what am I looking at?
Okay. Did you think you were going to, did you say, I want one at that moment? Or like, I'm going to skip it? Like at that moment, we're talking about like 10 seconds, right? All of us took a few seconds to like, what are we looking at?
My initial reaction was no way, no chance. The one thing I did like about it was that it's like steel. Because as you know, I wrapped my car in a brushed steel to make it look like the Starship, SpaceX's Starship, and they literally used the steel from SpaceX's Starship for this car. So I thought that aspect of it was really cool. But my initial look at that is, no way I would ever buy it. One, I don't really need a truck, but if I did need a truck, I was like, no way I would ever buy that.
All right. Well, I mean, myself included, and then a lot of other people really thought it was kind of maybe a joke they were playing on us, and like it's going to blow up and a real truck was going to come up, right? Any of those renderings that we've seen before would do. But all right, so fast forward now. Did you reserve one, and would you actually get one?
So I haven't reserved one yet. I think no, I haven't reserved one yet.
Oh.
No, I think this is something that would make a lot of sense for my friend Starman. I could see that making quite a splash of this.
That guy was very popular at that event.
He was. Yeah, I mean, this car looks like a rover that belongs on Mars. So I feel like Starman has to have one. But no, I haven't ordered one yet. However, I do have to say, and I think it had the same effect on me as it did on a lot of other people, it has grown on me a lot more than when I saw it the first night. And I think the design was just so shocking, so not Tesla. Right? When you compare it to like the Model S, the Roadster that has all these beautiful curves and it's like very sleek and sexy, to this thing being very rigid and hard angles, like took a bit for the brain to get used to what it's seeing. But I do say after seeing it a bit longer, I am coming to terms with it a little bit more, and I do like it a lot more than I did the first night.
Well, so let me ask you this, because I feel like cars, especially for men, okay, 97% of my audience, our audience are men, but I feel like cars are kind of like when you look at a girl, right? You know whether you think she's attractive or not, right? If you're a woman, then the guy or whatever. And I feel like cars are the same thing. You just look at it and you either like it or not, and if later you like it, you kind of maybe settling. Do you think people are settling when they say, oh, it grew on me?
I don't think it's settling, because I think I used to listen to a lot of music, and usually anytime a new genre kind of breaks through, the first artist who come up with the genre or have a new sound, there's a lot of albums that it takes a couple times of listening to before you can fully appreciate and enjoy it. And I had that experience a lot with music. Even artists that I like Chevelle and Linkin Park in the early days, that was music that really had to grow on you. But once it grew on you, it was like, oh my God, I love it. So I think it's just part of the human process of getting used to something new. I don't think it's necessarily settling. Now, can it be? Yes. It could be settling, but I don't think that's necessarily the case that's happening here.
Well, you know, I made a video with my first impressions yesterday, and I compared Tesla to Kardashians, right? Kardashians, you know, big butts, so they both have that in common with a truck. But, you know, Kardashians... And
you like them and you cannot lie.
I cannot lie. But Kardashians are kind of like they, and that would include Kanye in that as well. No matter what they produce, they're telling us what we're supposed to like, right? I mean, if you look at the Yeezys, the sneakers, right?
Yep.
If you put any name on it except for his, and you sell it at the store, people will be like, hey, what the hell is that, right? But the name is everything. Do you think Tesla is in a position to tell us what we're supposed to like and what the future is like?
I think they may be. Apple certainly has been for a long time, and they're probably the closest comparison of a company that, you know, they look at the market and say, okay, here's what you're going to want, and we'd want it, and then we buy it, and we love it. Tesla may very well be in that place. I think they very much are in that place with electric vehicles, because they're so far ahead, they've got so much tech in these cars, they can do things that others can't. I think this will be the vehicle that time will that will prove whether or not Tesla really is there. This is the first time they are really pushing the envelope in design. And I'll tell you what, one of the things that I found interesting of some of the coverage is I've seen it go both ways. Like 50% of the coverage is this car is ugly, 50% is like, here's why it's genius. And then there's this bit in the middle of, I've seen some people indicating that if this works, this may be a step showing that, you know, Elon has filled the design shoes left by Jobs. There's somebody who's willing to push an innovative product, an innovative design beyond what anybody said it was going to work. And I think over the next couple of years, we're going to see how that plays out. And for Tesla's sake, and, you know, being a shareholder, I hope it works out. But I think time's going to have to tell.
Well, as a shareholder, do you think you might be a little bit upset with Elon for essentially gambling with the future of the company, because this is so futuristic, right? That I think even biggest Tesla fans would have to admit that this is a bit of a gamble, and Tesla is not yet in a position to gamble as a company with their future and finances. Do you have a bit of a concern there where Elon might have pushed it a little too far, not as far as like future design is concerned, but just, you know, the company being viable and having a bright future?
So I think just purely looking at it as a shareholder and looking at the economics of this, I think if they'd gone with a more conservative design, they would have guaranteed to sold as many of these as fast as they could make them.
I agree.
Put all those specs into something that looks a little bit more similar to a regular truck, gangbusters. Might put Rivian out of business entirely, would seriously have an impact on Ford, and would produce a lot more shareholder wealth a lot faster. Now, they didn't do that. Now, just looking at it purely as a shareholder standpoint, if I'm just looking at return on capital, it's, yeah, I wish they would have made a more conservative truck. And again, time will tell. My response still is currently, I wish it wasn't quite as intense as it was. And I saw a render online that I thought really did a good job highlighting it. It's the fact that it doesn't have that cutoff on the back that you expect for the bed. I saw a version where it doesn't have that slant that it does right now.
Yeah, I saw that as well.
And when I saw it like that, I'm like, okay, that now looks like a truck.
Yeah.
That actually appeased me a lot more. And again, doesn't mean this new design isn't better, doesn't make a lot more sense. I'm just used to seeing a truck like this, and I don't think I'm ready for that yet.
Yeah.
Who knows? I might be by the time this thing ships.
Well, interesting, because so I reserved one. I reserved one within an hour, and I absolutely hated it at that time. And, you know, let me be honest. The reason I reserved it is because, hey, this is Tesla. You know, I may not understand something now, but maybe in 3 or 4 years when this, you know, time comes to, you know, maybe, realize my reservation, I may just be ready, and I don't want to be left out of the future, right? That's why I put in, I'm not going to lie, if it was $1,000, yeah, I don't know. Plus, it's a long time to, and I've already reserved the Model 3 and ended up yanking it out and the e-tron and so forth. But for $100, I was like, no problem. So that's why I did it. I feel like I am one of those people who kind of are sitting there and saying, hey, this might just be the future. And I may not understand it just yet, but I want to invest in it. Now, I do have to say, so I think, you know, we're making this video on Sunday, and I think Elon just said they have 150, so let's just say they have 200,000 reservations by now. I really expected a million reservations within the first week, just because it's 10 times less than a Model 3, right? And it's really, I think most people can definitely afford it. It doesn't matter whether it's on my savings account or Tesla's savings account, fully refundable. Do you think this number is a little bit concerning?
So this is something where you and I kind of see it differently. I actually thought the number was higher than I was expecting it to be, because the design is so radical, and at least the initial response was either loved it or hate it. And I actually, because of that, and because how many people out there are not ready to jump into something like that, aren't looking to put money down for a truck coming in a couple of years with this type of crazy design, especially considering who the truck market is today. I think it's going to take a while for who the truck market is today to warm up to something like this. I think in the 2 years before it ships, could it happen? Absolutely. But yeah, I was actually surprised to see that it was at 150,000. Probably the most interesting though was how few of the reservations were for the base model. I would have thought a lot higher percentage would have been for that $39,000 base model, and that only accounted for 17%.
I'm one of them, but you can change it. I know. I also reserved a 40 kilowatt hour version of Model S and ended up with an 85. So I think, and as a matter of fact, I don't think I modified anything in that. I just wanted to make it fast. Yeah, no, that's an interesting observation, but you know, it is definitely something that I think needs time, but they do have time.
They do.
Right? It is, I mean,
I would say the thing about the vehicle I was definitely really impressed with and I liked was the interior. The interior was very spacious. I actually liked the minimalist dash in this one, although in the S, when they go to that minimalist refresh, it's part of the reason I bought the Raven when I did now, because I don't want the Model 3 setup in my S. But I actually liked it inside the truck. It was interesting though, because like the dash up front was like marble. I don't know if you felt it. It was textured. It was actual like marble.
They said it's made out of paper material, which is kind of weird, right? It's literally made out of paper. You know, bulletproof outside, the paper inside. But yeah, you know, I'm not a fan of Model 3 interior, so I also did not like the Cybertruck's interior. But I am not a target audience, obviously. And yeah, you know, going back to Rivian, by the way, and Bollinger for that matter, they're definitely celebrating. They, you know, you're right, they would have killed it. And I think one thing that people have not yet thought about, that if you are a blind person, for example, and all you heard was the stats, that is a mind-blowing offer. We're talking about, first of all, they have a great range, which, by the way, Mach-E, the Ford Mustang Mach-E did as well. I thought it was great. I mean, obviously, we're not talking about it anymore. We will again at some point, but, you know, a great range of not just actual range, the electric range, but again, you can have 1 motor, 2 motors, 3 motors, 0 to 60, and so forth. I mean, the stats are mind-blowing.
It is. I mean, the base model, 250 plus miles, was at 7,000 pounds towing. It's incredible for a $39,000 truck. Then you go to the top end with the tri-motor, only 69,000 with still a 2.9 second 0 to 60, a 10.8 quarter mile, which is absurd. You know, what is it? 14,000 pounds towing. Yeah. The numbers are unbelievable. 500 mile range, 120 and 220 outlets, so you can literally take your vehicle out there and power.
That's a big deal for overlanding.
Huge deal. So like, it's crazy what the specs are on this thing.
All right, well, so let's talk about the big question of the day here. Do you believe, and this is the title of this video, because I believe that people who don't like it will be Kardashianed. They will be forced to like it, and I don't even mean it in a negative way. Tesla will be like, hey, listen, this is what the future is like. You know, you can get on board now or in 10 years or whatever, but people who have been following Tesla and just kind of aware that this brand is a futuristic brand will be like, well, if Elon says so, I guess I'll like it. Do you think, I think people will in the next few days, weeks and months, and maybe in the next couple of years, this will grow on them and they will absolutely love it. Like, we won't even be having this conversation. Do you like it? I don't like it, but maybe everyone will be like, yeah, that's the future.
You know, I think it's going to take exposure, same way with the Model 3. I don't know if you remember, but initially a lot of people didn't like the front of the Model 3.
Yeah, I know.
And not having any sort of grille, it was all this flat, clean thing. I didn't like it at first.
I loved it at first.
Yeah, see, I didn't like it at first at all. It took a while to grow on me. I think so long as Tesla does a good enough job of keeping it in public light over the next couple of years, so people can get used to seeing it, yeah, I think it'll be widely adopted. I think the way they did the lights looks cool, that it has this Tron type feel. I think the whole idea of not even wasting your time with paint, just going full steel for the functionality, I think makes a lot of sense too. I love that move.
You do. I have to say the car looked like crap in person, and I think in videos because of that, right? It just almost looked dirty and like a 3D printed sort of a mock-up.
It looked better once it got outside.
Yes,
I don't know if you noticed.
Yes.
I think in the daytime it's going to look insane.
Yes, but I personally, if I'm actually going to be getting one, I will definitely get it in black. And you know, I know you like matte black, and that's what's probably going to be the option. But I think even like a regular black, or
I would get matte black because it really looks like an armored personnel carrier in a matte black render.
Yeah, I would still want the regular color, you know. And in another video I did some of the renderings, and then when I photoshopped it, I did like pretty much any other color. But hey, to each its own. I just thought for the presentation, it probably was the worst color possible. And I do have to say that I've gone to this is my 50th probably electric car unveiling. And Tesla is not the only one that, you know, they roll the car out and you go like, really? You couldn't have painted like any other color? Because we know we're taking videos here and pictures.
And in their case, they put no color. It's just steel.
Yeah. They're like, we're just not going to paint this thing, you know? Now, let's address the elephant in the room, which I think we won't be talking about it for too long. But, you know, what do you think about the glass being broken live twice? What are your thoughts about that?
At the time, I was laughing because, like, we could watch Franz be up there with Elon. Elon's like, yeah, go ahead and throw it. And Franz is like, are you sure? And Elon's like, yeah, do it. Throws it, breaks. Oh, that wasn't supposed to happen. Let's try it again. Yeah. Breaks again. It's like, oh my God. Yeah. If it fails once, try it again.
Right.
It was a good laugh. My initial thought was they didn't have the armored glass in there. Maybe someone didn't realize. Turns out we found out later they did have the armored glass on there, and it looks like they probably just did a few too many tests on it, and it finally gave way. But I thought it was funny. Will it actually matter? No.
I don't think so. As a matter of fact, even the bigger haters probably know, yeah, it's funny, and we'll have some funny memes, which I do have a video of because I think the memes are funny. But, this is Tesla. They will fix it, and it will work. I probably got more publicity than I otherwise would have, which would still be a lot. I do, but even Tesla, I don't know if you noticed, Tesla does not have it up on their YouTube channel or anywhere on their media site. They literally just kind of ghosted their own unveiling. Not kidding. So obviously, and we were there in person, but Elon was already thrown off by the mic issues from the very beginning. And I think when that happened, he just wanted to get the hell out of there, right? It was definitely the worst unveiling I've ever seen. And we're talking including the windows and Faraday Future and whatever, which is unfortunate. But I think at the end of the day, it gave him more publicity than otherwise it would have had. And we're going to forget about it once, we're really going to start thinking about this truck and seeing some spy pictures and videos and stuff like that. What are your thoughts on that?
Totally. And I think the funniest part was there was a number of people who interacted online who thought it was an intentional publicity stunt. It was not a publicity stunt. You could see Elon's face. You could see Elon when he was leaving the stage. Like, he was mad.
Yeah.
That was not expected. That was not, think about it. He did not, on all the videos and all the photos that are posted online with him in front of the truck, he did not want 2 broken windows in it behind him.
No.
Like, that is not what, nobody wanted that.
No.
So no, it was not a publicity stunt. It may have got them extra publicity, but trust me, somebody's in trouble for that.
Yeah. Now, were you just like, I personally thought because there were no other models that Elon said that would be announced in the future, they just had to at least tease us with something that's coming up. Tesla brand lives on hype, and as a lot of exciting startups do, but now we have nothing to technically look forward to. I personally thought it was going to be something on Model 2, which is more like really affordable, $25,000, small compact car, but we got nothing. So do you think that was disappointing? And
technically, we got an ATV.
That's probably even more disappointing than not getting anything else, but okay.
I'll tell you what, I was very shocked by that. I never thought Tesla would ever make any type of off-road type vehicle, but they did.
All right, but nevertheless, do you think it was a mistake not to? I mean, you can do a shadowy figure, right? Like they did with Model Y, which really could have looked anything. You just got a windshield and 2 mirrors, right? Do you think they need hype to kind of live on? And was it disappointing that they didn't give us anything to talk about?
I didn't expect them to give us anything else. I know a lot of people did, and I had some conversations and some videos of people last week saying the Roadster unveil with the Roadster coming out of the back of the semi was the anomaly. And all the other unveils, it's just been one product.
No, it's not true. Model Y had the truck.
It had
teaser.
The teaser.
Right. I just mean a teaser.
A slight teaser that nobody noticed, by the way. Elon had to go on Twitter later and tell us all.
Right.
And it was a little thing of the headlights.
But we knew that the truck is coming, but now we don't know what's coming.
And he had been actively talking about it on the months on Twitter before that, though. So, I mean, think about it. They got Model Y, which they're ramping up production right now. In 6 months, they should be shipping those cars. They've got the Tesla Semi, which still isn't in production. They've got the Tesla Roadster. Now they've got the Tesla Truck.
Semi is going to be in production unlimited. It's the Roadster that's not.
Right, end of the year. But I'm saying they have 4 cars that have been unveiled that are not yet shipping.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be years before they actually release another vehicle.
Really?
I don't. Wow. I think they didn't tease us with anything because it may be 2+ years before we see another Tesla.
Wow. That's
my prediction. I think it'll be 2 years before you see a new Tesla model. And just think about all the money and all the profit they can make. I mean, think about how much money the Semi is going to make them, and how much production they're going to need to do on that. Model Y, which Elon and Tesla are saying is going to be their best-selling car ever.
I believe them from the very beginning. I believe them.
100% believe them. I mean, their German factory is going to focus on building just Model Y out the gate. No. Like they've got all these lines that they have a lot of production ramp and entirely new assembly lines to build.
Yeah.
You think about the truck. That's an entire there's not going to be any reusability except for like motors. on that vehicle.
Right.
So that's going to be an entirely new assembly line. Semi, similar thing. Y, I know, has some very similar parts. Roadster is an entirely new vehicle. I mean, they've got a lot of new cars, 4 cars that have to go into production globally. So yeah, I think it's going to be at least 2 years before we see a new Tesla vehicle.
All right, that's very interesting. You might be right. I'm just saying I was a little bit surprised they didn't do that. But all right, listen, I'm sure we'll have a couple more conversations about this in the next few weeks and months. But listen, we're living exciting times, right? It's great that we are even able to have this conversation, because 10 years ago, what would you be talking about? The BMW that looks exactly the same as the previous 10 years? I absolutely love it. I'm looking forward to the next week. We're gonna have probably a little bit of a different maybe opinion. There are more things that are gonna come out. So
here's what I'm most excited about with this Cybertruck. If any other company had unveiled a prototype like this, we could all say with almost 100% certainty that vehicle will never go into production.
Yeah. Right.
But because this is Tesla and because this is Elon, this vehicle is going to go into production.
Yeah.
We're actually going to get to find out what does the world think of this car and will it sell. If it was any other company, we'd never really find that out. I think that's part of the reason why any of these concepts we've seen in the past haven't transitioned to becoming the future sooner, because nobody's really had the guts to like put it all out there and say, yeah, we're going to bring the future here right now and take the risk of you not buying it. So I find that really exciting.
I do have to say, and I know people are going to accuse me that Biden is a sponsor of the channel, but Biden, when they came out with this humongous screen in the very beginning, everyone said it's not going in production, but it is going in production. So I would just have one exception footnote to this.
Oh, I love Biden screens immediately. It was one of the first things that attracted me to the Biden, and I think the people who said that will never go in production just don't understand that we're heading to a world of self-driving cars.
Yeah.
The fact, I mean, we're heading to a world that's not too far away where you will have a screen instead of a windshield.
Yeah.
Right? Like anybody who said that doesn't understand the world we're heading to. If anything, in a few years, this probably isn't enough of a screen.
Right.
Here.
Oh yeah, this is tiny.
Yeah. Like honestly, in a few years, the Model 3 screen is actually going to be a little bit more attractive because widescreen doesn't involve this tiny little slit here.
Yeah. And we should mention we are in your Model S.
Yes, we are.
Okay.
We're in my Model S. But yeah, no, I think anybody who didn't understand the Biden screens just didn't understand autonomy, or that their driving experience is going to be sitting back watching entertainment.
All right. I am looking forward to our next conversation, and I am curious to know at that time if you have reserved your Cybertruck. But we will talk about it next time.
We'll save that for next week.
Good to see you again, man.
Thanks, Alex.
All right, well, I always have great conversations with them. I absolutely love it. So let me know in the comment section what you guys think. Definitely let me know if you reserve one. And by the way, if you want to follow Eli on social media, the links are in the description of this video. By the way, most of my videos are streamed live on Patreon. I absolutely love it. This is where we can hang out, interact live. This is about a day before I upload them on YouTube. Welcome to one of my newer Patreons. Arnaud, thank you so much for supporting me. I'm a full-time YouTuber. I travel and I do this thing every day, so I really appreciate you guys making this my career. If you want to become one of the Patreons, go to patreon.com/e4electric. That link is also in the description of this video. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to our free newsletter called our VIP list. That's where we send you a bonus story every Saturday, a story that is still very exciting electric car story, but we just couldn't fit into any of our schedule here on this channel or on e4electric.com website. So go ahead and find that link in the description of this video as well. All right, looking forward to your comments. Other than that, see you guys next time, and remember to stay charged.